Tonight on Cronkite News, the new bill working its way through the Arizona legislature aimed at saving the lives of some of the most vulnerable members of our community.
I'm like an old dog. You can teach me new tricks every day.
Plus, how Arizona's aging population is learning to stay young with the help of a local organization.
And ASU's head coach heads to the baseball diamond. We'll tell you why Dillingham visited the D-backs. Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News. I'm Max Williams.
And I'm Caitlin Humphrey. Thank you for joining us.
We begin with a national report that finds Arizona has one of the highest numbers of missing and murdered indigenous people in the nation. Cronkite News reporter Emily Foxmillian tells us about a new bill at the legislature that hopes to save lives.
Nestled in Emily Pike's hometown of Peridot, Arizona, a towering mural tells the story of loss.
She was thinking about her future, and now her life was cut short, and the only thing we can do is just try to find that justice for her. And
hundreds of handprints cover the water tower, each one a symbol of the murdered and missing Indigenous women crisis. Emily was just 14 when she went missing. When she was finally found miles away from home, it was too late. At this time, there are no suspects and no identified cause of death. Her uncle, Allred Pike Jr., says she never should have been lost in the first place.
If I say it, I'm playing the victim. But you look at all the steps on where things weren't followed if it were someone of a different color, skin color.
According to the National Institute of Justice's National Missing and Unidentified Person System, Arizona ranks third in the nation for missing and murdered Indigenous persons. House Bill 2281 would change how the state responds to these emergencies. If passed, it would create an emergency alert system specifically for missing and endangered Indigenous people, similar to the Amber Alert. And although Emily was just 14 years old, the legislation moving through the Senate will only send out alerts for those 18 years and older. Still, her family says it's a start.
It's not perfect, but it's a start. And with all 22 tribes standing together, I think we could get what we need.
The bill's co-sponsor, Brian Garcia, acknowledges it is not a complete solution.
It doesn't solve every issue, but it certainly starts moving the needle a little bit towards justice.
San Carlos Apache Tribe Chairman Terry Rambler says the bill is long overdue.
If you look at it statistically, you'll probably see that a lot of these missing and murdered women and men, their cases are not as high priority as other cases.
Advocates, including organizations like Unity Inc., say it's not enough to just introduce the bill.
We have work to do. So we're going to be able to make sure that we prevent another case like Emily Pike's. But again, we have to work together. We have to make sure that once this system gets in place that it's going to work.
Back in Emily's hometown, her family continues to mourn, but they hope that soon red handprints will no longer mark tragedy, but justice. Emily Foxmillian, Cronkite News.
House Bill 2281 was introduced before Emily Pike's death. It has since passed the Arizona House and is moving through the Senate with bipartisan support. And Arizona Senator Ruben Gallego announced today that he'll place a blanket hold on all nominations to the Department of Veterans Affairs. The move is in response to the Trump administration's plan to eliminate a large amount of the VA workforce. Senator Gallego says the VA has already been impacted here in Arizona, pointing to the order given to the Carl T. Hayden Phoenix VA Center to fire 15% of its staff by June. The senator announced the blocking of confirmations will continue until VA Secretary Doug Collins calls off the mass firings.
An Arizona State Guard Lieutenant Colonel and former Republican State Representative Travis Grantham has announced his campaign for Arizona's 5th Congressional District. The seat is currently occupied by Republican Representative Andy Biggs, who will vacate the seat to run for Arizona governor in 2026.
Turning now to a big concern for many Americans, getting older. Americans are living longer, with the average life expectancy increasing to 78.4 years, according to the CDC. And as Cronkite News reporter Brandon Muth explains, one local organization is working to keep this aging population young.
Thank you, Max. In Arizona, 19% of people are 65 years or older. According to the ADHS, the leading cause of death for this age group is heart disease. Even with this data, experts in the Valley believe this is preventable and are trying to make a difference. The music is vibrant. Feet are moving. And individuals like Dina Cordoba are getting into the groove.
Me encanta la zumba.
I love Zumba. I always come to Zumba. They have crafts all the time, and I like everything. A lot of conviviality here. We look like a family.
Todo me gusta.
A gathering for individuals 65 years or older at the Casa de Primavera Senior Apartment Complex in Phoenix. Attendees like Cordoba not only come for the Zumba, but for another reason.
I come here because of the events, for the company of all the people.
Social interaction boosts seniors' mental and physical health, lowers the risk of cognitive decline and depression, and fosters purpose and belonging, according to Senior Services of America. At this health fair by Chicanos por la Casa, older adults socializing with each other are improving their physical, mental, and emotional health by engaging in interactive activities. The program also provides other helpful resources.
We're teaching them, Tech 101, how to send an email, how to start a Facebook page or Instagram page, little things like that. But those little things actually support a lot because it gets them connected to family members.
Older adults in attendance are gaining valuable information to improve their own well-being, including Medicare plans. Health experts recommend and encourage older adults to exercise and eat healthy to adopt a healthier lifestyle.
I'm like an old dog. You can teach me new tricks every day. Got a lot of information updated that I had before that I need to update in my files.
Besides chronic diseases and serious illnesses, mental health also plays a negative factor for older adults. According to the World Health Organization, while most have good health, many are at risk of developing mental health conditions such as depression and anxiety disorders. In the newsroom, Brandon Muth, Cronkite News.
Arizona Attorney General Chris Mays announced today she is suing the Department of Health and Human Services and Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Mays is suing to stop the termination of nearly $12 billion in public health grants. Mays claims the termination of this federal contract money will cause job losses and harm health infrastructure, especially in rural parts of the state. Mays, along with the AGs of 22 other states and the District of Columbia, are filing for a temporary restraining order to stop the terminations in the suing states, claiming the terminations violate the Administrative Procedure Act.
And today is Arizona Gives Day, an online fundraising effort to help nonprofit organizations across the state. Nearly $2 million have been donated so far, and all the donations made today are tax deductible. The group AZ Impact for Good started Arizona Gives Day back in 2013, raising more than $40 million since then. And coming up next, a look at the news headlines from across the nation.
Including a senator from New Jersey who took the Senate floor for over 20 hours.
I rise with the intention of getting in some good trouble. I rise with the intention of disrupting the normal business of the United States Senate.
Find out what kind of trouble he planned to get into after the break.
I'm Quentin Presley at the Cronkite Weather Center. Last week, Arizona hit some historic high temperatures, and now it seems to be coming back down to earth. Stay tuned for your full weather forecast.
What Cronkite News means to me is opportunity.
We do news right at Cronkite News, serving a community ethically, honestly, and truthfully.
And we can provide a necessarily different angle, different voice for those people that really need it.
The students, they have a lot of passion for journalism.
I get to do a lot of stories about the Hispanic community.
And we have access to cover all of these sorts of events and get media coverage of all these different personalities and athletes, and that's just a huge thing.
But it's also a chance for people here to be humanized. Individuals of all walks of life.
Cronkite News will help take the next generation of journalists onto their next careers.
I am old enough to remember Walter Cronkite.
We're putting a lot of pride on his name because we are practicing a lot of the things that he did.
I think he'd be smiling from ear to ear.
I.
We are Cronkite.
Democratic Senator Cory Booker of New Jersey started a marathon speech last night on the Senate floor to protest actions taken by President Trump. The marathon speech is not technically a filibuster because Booker is not attempting to block legislation or a nomination. His fellow senators have been taking turns asking questions to give Senator Booker a break, including Arizona Senator Mark Kelly, who talked about his own family and how they benefited from government help. At one point, Booker mentioned the accidental deportation of a legal Maryland father to a notorious El Salvadorian prison.
No one should be denied due process, that the government can't walk up to a human being and grab them off the street and put them on a plane and send them to one of the most notorious prisons in the world and just say, as one of our authority did, oopsie.
The man was granted protected status by an immigration judge in 2019. A senior ICE official claimed the man had a, quote, prominent role in the MS-13 gang. However, his attorneys claim he has no connection to the group. The Trump administration called the action a, quote, administrative error in a court filing on Monday.
And U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi said that the Justice Department is intending to seek the death penalty for Luigi Mangione. Mangione is currently in court facing federal and state charges for allegedly shooting and killing United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. Bondi said today that she plans to direct the interim U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York to seek the death penalty. Mangione would first need to be convicted on capital murder charges before a death penalty hearing can take place. Mangione added another attorney to his case who has experience in death penalty cases. Turning now to the weather, much cooler temperatures are headed our way, Caitlin.
That's right, Max. Quentin Presley joins us now from the Cronkite Weather Center with what we can expect.
Thanks, Caitlin. And you're absolutely correct. It's going to be much cooler here in the state. But moving on, let's take a look at the evening planner. Right now, it's about 69 degrees, nice and brisk, and it's going to stay that way as we proceed through the evening, ending off at 64 degrees at 10. Now, moving on, taking a look down, what is it going to look like tomorrow morning? What are going to be the lows when you're heading to work or possibly taking your kids to school? Well, I'll tell you, and you can see right here, it's very chilly. It's going to be like that tomorrow up north, at central, and even down south. It's going to stay within that 30 to 20 degree range for a majority. Now, don't let these cooler temps and cloudy skies fool you. The UV is going to be at a staggering 8 tomorrow, and that's really hot, which means the burn time is going to be at 15 minutes. So if you're looking to stay outside longer than that, I'd recommend lathering up in some sunscreen. But staying within that same warm realm, let's take a look at the highs tomorrow, and I can tell you they're not going to be there. The central and southern part of the state are going to be in the 60-degree territory, whereas the central part and down that rim of Arizona, it's going to be chilly as well. Now, finishing off with our 8-day forecast, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, it's going to be cool and cloudy, but as we head into the weekend, Saturday, Sunday, and into next weekend, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, it's going to get warmer and the clouds are going to dissipate. That's all for this one. Thank you all for tuning in. I'm Quentin Presley, sending it back to the desk.
Thanks, Quentin. Coming up next, tonight's Cronkite Sports Report.
That's right, Max, and the LPGA Ford Championship returns to the Valley with pro golfers here to compete from around the world, including an Arizona native.
This tournament here has meant so much to me since I was a young girl. Just hopes and aspirations of being here one day, so it's a dream come true.
We'll have more from the championship when we return after this quick break.
grew up in a small border town, and water was really important to us. Without enough water, we can't farm, we can't eat, we can't live. And the way we're doing it right now, straight up doesn't have a future. I went to ASU because this is a place where you solve problems. With vertical farming, we can grow the same amount of food with 95% less water than traditional farming. The work I'm doing at ASU is changing the way I look at the world.
Innovation at the Walter Cronkite School is pushing the boundaries of traditional journalism.
Storytelling has evolved over the years. This is part of that evolution.
Students in the Innovation and Entrepreneurship Lab are using emerging technology to create scenes in augmented and virtual reality, coding playable games, and bringing the audience into the story.
They're only limited by their imagination and their willingness to learn.
Find out more at cronkite.asu.edu.
Welcome to the Cronkite Sports Report. I'm Genaro Garcia. ASU men's basketball played its first ever Crown Tournament game last night against Nebraska, falling 86-78 to the Cornhuskers, marking an end to a forgetful year on the court for ASU. ASU held a 38-30 lead going into the half and even a double-digit lead at one point early in the second half. But Nebraska throughout the game would take advantage of Sean Phillips Jr.'s foul trouble and rack up 44 points inside the paint. Nebraska outscored ASU 56-40 in the second half, thanks to a standout performance by Bryce Williams, who dropped 30 points and scored 11 out of Nebraska's last 15 points. Nebraska will now face Georgetown tomorrow in round 2 of the tournament. The LPGA returned to Arizona as the 2025 Ford Championship took place at the Whirlwind Golf Club over the weekend. The 4-day event was host to the world's best professional women golfers, all competing to be crowned champion. Cronkite News reporter Dawi Geber-Mariam was in Chandler for the final round.
When Hyo-Joo Kim entered the final round of the Ford Championships on Sunday in 5th place, she knew that it would take a perfect performance to walk away as champion. 18 holes in one playoff later, Kim turned her vision into reality as she shot a 64 on the final day to pick up the 7th win of her LPGA career.
So as soon as I arrived, I remember I believe my first winning was in Arizona, but maybe not here. So I really had good thoughts, and now that everything got connected again, so it's pretty amazing, and I will have a wonderful memory about Arizona.
The tournament was a homecoming for multiple golfers, including Sarah Schmelzel, who was the only Arizona resident to make the cut after the second round. Schmelzel, a lifelong Phoenix resident, was excited to have the opportunity to perform back in her home state.
Yeah, this tournament here has meant so much to me since I was a young girl. Just hopes and aspirations of being here one day. So it's a dream come true, being able to compete here at home year after year.
Competition for this year's Ford Championship was especially fierce as first, second, and third place all surpassed the 72-hole scoring record for the tournament, which was previously held by 2024 champion Kelly Norda.
This week was kind of a week that I would dedicate everything to being in tune with my body, not having aches and pains, and I got through 4 rounds of none of that. So this is probably the most I've felt like me in the past year and a half.
With her first win in over a year, Hyo-Joo Kim became the oldest winner on tour this season and the newest member of the Ford Champion Club. Reporting for the LPGA Ford Championship, Dawi Geber-Mariam, Cronkite News.
Opening weekend across the MLB was quite the spectacle for baseball fans across the country. There were tons of highlight moments among the league's best, but the Diamondbacks' third baseman Eugenio Suarez was nominated as this season's first National League Player of the Week. This is the first time in his career that Suarez has earned the award and also marks the second consecutive year that a Diamondbacks player was nominated during opening weekend. Last year's award went to Lourdes Gurriel Jr. The 2 homers Suarez had in Saturday's game was his 17th career multi-homer game and was his first since September of last season. The Diamondbacks' opening series against the Cubs ended in a 2-2 split, but the 32-year-old third baseman hit 4 home runs, had 7 RBIs, all while hitting .286. Suarez homered in each of his first 3 games, even hitting his first homer in his first at-bat on opening day. Suarez is tied for first in home runs with Aaron Judge and is also tied for 4th in RBIs. The Diamondbacks have built a relationship with ASU football as they invited head coach Kenny Dillingham and some players out to opening day last week. I was at Chase Field to see how Dillingham and the Big 12 champs are igniting the Valley on the diamond.
The ASU football fire is only spreading as they continue to build a positive relationship with the Arizona Diamondbacks. So much so that Kenny Dillingham, along with a few of his stars, including Sam Levitt, got invited out to opening day last week to take part in the big day. Diamondbacks outfielder Corbin Carroll talked about why Kenny and his squad are working well with the Snakes.
The pride those guys brought to the Valley, I'm excited for them to be out here. You know, when he was over at Salt River earlier this spring, hearing his message, seems like a lot of shared messages and just, great culture over there.
Speaking of shared messages, Dillingham and Diamondbacks manager Torey Lovello have the most notable relationship between the two desert teams. So much so that Dillingham's boys threw out the first pitch before the game. Lovello talked about the common ground between the two teams.
We want to spread what's going on right here with everybody in this valley. So we're doing the same thing every single day. We're trying to bring a championship to this valley the best way we know how. And he's a high energy, big impact type of a guy. And I'm very grateful for the friendship that we're starting.
Keeping you on the diamond this time at ASU, ASU baseball has cracked the Division I top 25 for the first time this season, now being ranked at number 24 in the nation. This comes after a stellar weekend in which ASU was on the road at Utah and swept them, marking the first time a Big 12 team has swept a conference opponent on the road this season. The most impressive win of the series came in Game 3, where all 9 players in the lineup recorded multiple hits, with Jacob Tobias' 4-hit, 4-RBI day being the standout. ASU scored 34 runs in the series, their second most since their series against TCU, where they scored 40. ASU improved to 19-9 on the season and is 7-2 in conference play. Tonight, the Sun Devils return to face their West Coast rival, Cal State Fullerton, before hosting state rival Arizona in a 3-game series this weekend with huge standing implications in the Big 12. And ASU football was back at spring practice today as they start looking at different position players and how the roster will start to take shape. The Big 12 champs are no longer the underdogs, but Coach Dillingham wants to make sure his players keep their edge. He's designed some of the open practice sessions on Saturdays to give the team a chance to experience a game atmosphere with fans in the stands.
There's pressure always on them in practice. Practice cannot become complacent. It has to be like a game. So having, 1,000 fans out here in the field watching and cheering, it just gets the energy level up. It puts the pressure on a little bit. Some of the younger guys, it's what we're trying to create every day in practice, just a little bit on steroids.
If you've been on the internet today, you may or may not have seen an April Fool's joke or two going around. Even ASU football got in on the fun with an interesting announcement. The official ASU Twitter posted a rendering of a maroon-colored football field being announced for the 2025-26 season. The tweet has gained over 2 million views, with some speculating that this could be a soft launch. If it's real, ASU would join Boise State and Coastal Carolina as the only programs with a colored turf field in the country. Well, that's it for the Cronkite Sports Report. I'm Renato Garcia, sending it back to the desk.
Hey, thanks, Sonaro. And speaking of April Fool's Day, our producers scoured the internet for the best April Fool's pranks.
Find out what takes the top spots when it comes to being bamboozled after a quick break.
People have always had trouble trying to put me into a box. A professor, suit and tie is just not me. Without the ocean, I don't know what I would do. The ocean's always been there for me. As Hawaiian people, we believe that the coral is the first living being to come out of the darkness. It's the foundation of our entire lifestyle, and that's what my research is about. What we do is we take photographs of the reef over long periods of time to create models that can tell us what the planet is doing. If we go deaf to what the Earth is telling us, then we'll never be able to live in harmony. If I can get my students excited about protecting the ocean, then they're the ones who are gonna really make the difference. I hope my students realize that I'm not trying to prepare them for something in the distant future. Their time is now at Arizona State University.
Welcome back. It's April Fool's Day, a day filled with trickery and deceit.
I'm sure some of you have been fooled today at least once, and this morning our producers took the time to find what they thought were the best April Fool's pranks online. In third place, we have one from Yahoo. Maybe you've heard the phrase touch grass. Well, Yahoo made a reality with that with their brand new grass keyboard, or did they?
And in second place is a new shampoo from the sports drink brand Body Armor. They found a way to put electrolytes into shampoo to make sure you're always hydrated in the shower.
And our producer's favorite prank was a non-alcoholic protein-packed champagne. The company Protein Works posted about Dom's Protein Yawn, which is a play on Dom Perignon.
That's it for tonight's edition of Cronkite News. I'm Max Williams.
And I'm Caitlin Humphrey. Thank you for joining us.